Yeah, we're good.
Good. Welcome, everyone, to our third meeting of the night. We kicked off at 5 with our budget workshop, followed by resolution of intent for 4-year staggered terms, which brings us to the main event, the regular scheduled meeting. So, all those in attendance, welcome. And those that are live streamed that are staying with us for the third meeting, welcome to each of you. If there's anyone that wants to speak during public comments, the sign-in sheets are right over there. Please do that before we get to that part of the agenda. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation. Pastor Wilbert Harrison, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome.
Would you pray with me, please? He has shown thee, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of us human? That we do justly, that we love mercy, and that we walk humbly with our God. Gracious and eternal God, we come before you today with gratitude, with the opportunity to gather and serve our community. We thank you for the gift of life and liberty and justice and the responsibility of leadership and civic engagement. As we begin this town hall meeting, we seek your guidance and your wisdom. Grant our leaders clarity of thought, compassion and mercy in their decision making, integrity in every word spoken. Help all participate to speak with respect, listen with humility, and work together for the good of all in this community and the world. Bless our towns, its hardworking people. Bless those that are unfortunate, that are less fortunate than many of us. Help us to work together for justice, for peace, for unity. Prevail in our discussions, in our actions. We ask all of this in the mighty name of Christ our Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. First item is approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions?
Mayor, I would like to amend, so item A for presentations will now be employee recognition. Item B under presentation should be the joint city-county emergency management presentation. And the proclamation for Juneteenth will now be C. Proclamation of recognizing Independence Day will be D, and proclamation of recognizing July as Parks and Rec Month should be E. I would also like to add 2 items under new business. I is the discussion of filing fees for citizens filing for office for the town of Hope Mills. And J, to discuss the public hearing. I think I need to add another one. I also need to add an item. So I think that would be item J should be the consideration of amending the Hope Mills Town Charter to establish 4-year staggered terms for the Board of Commissioners, and item H should be the setting the public hearing. I'm sorry, I don't know my alphabet. K should be setting the public hearing.
Okay.
So new business to discuss the filing fees for Hope Mills Commissioners, people filing for office for the Board of Hope Mills Commissioner. The next item would be the consideration of amending the town of Hope Mills charter. And then the next item would be setting the public hearing.
Okay. So we're moving up 3 items under presentations, and we're adding 2 items to the agenda. Do I have a motion? Or Three items, sorry.
Motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
Okay, second? Any discussion? All in favor? Seeing none approved? Motion carries. None opposed. We are.
You're right.
Just got a good team. Balance. Yeah. Well, okay, that's the only hiccup in the regular meeting. We're good. Official comments, managers report that under tab 1, and this gets longer and longer every meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. First page of the manager's report is the community corner, and we will begin with our 4th of July festivities. We have Saturday, June 28th, 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Holton Mills Municipal Park. Face painting, petting zoo, fun slides, vendors, live music, 15 plus food trucks, and fireworks at 9 p.m. On July the 2nd, you have the Independence Day luncheon here at Municipal Park from 11 to 1. And then we conclude our Independence Day celebration on the actual holiday, July 4th at 10 a.m. with the parade. Also in the manager's report, images from our first State of the Town event that was held on May 20th. We held the Tau Epsilon Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta. They held their annual gun violence awareness walk, very well attended. That was on June 7th. The Holton Mills Prime Movers had a very well attended event on May 24th. It was the ties and tiaras and capes and crowns, kind of like a daddy-daughter dance. And that was held here at the Rec Center. The Holton Mills Police Department on June 5th held their bi-weekly coffee with a cop event. Kudos to Mayor Scarola. Commissioner Scarola for her first annual fishing derby that was held on June 7th. I think you had 50 plus registrants. All proceeds were donated to Artist Village, which is a great nonprofit. One day you may see me in one of the plays. I talked to Teresa Davis on Friday. I kind of want to throw my acting chops into the ring. Third page is we'll continue to be spring and summer events from Parks and Recreation. Fall athletic registration is now open. And the fourth page is Holton Mills Chamber of Commerce. We participated, staff, and I'm one of the worst golfers on the planet, but I will compete for the Happy Gilmore Award every year. The annual Chamber of Commerce golf tournament was a success. We actually put 2 teams in each year in support of the chamber. The Chamber Business Breakfast is also always going to be the 4th Tuesday of the month at 8:30 a.m. at Harmony Health Mills. The last 2 pages of the manager report will permanently remain tied to NCDOT construction updates. And that concludes the manager's report for June 16th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. With board member comments, I'm going to kick it off with Commissioner Scarola.
Thank you, Mayor. As the town manager had mentioned, June 7th was the first annual Holton Mills Fishing Derby. It was a very, very hot day. I was miserable from being hot and sick, but we had over 50 people, registered fishermen, anglers, as you would. Also, I forgot to mention this, Spotted Echo Lake was our friendly alligator. Yes, I don't know where the angler said they've seen it, but leave Bob alone. Bob's not hurting anyone. Bob is okay. But yes, had a lot of fun at the fishing derby. People were really, really impressed, really, really happy. I mean, I've never seen so many parents and kids really excited to come out, and they're like, we never knew this was here. I was like, we never had it. So it was really a good time. But we raised over $1,100 to go to Artist Village. So it was a really good time. And now I'm assisting the Holton Mills Police Foundation to put on a car show. So more to follow on that. That's all I have. And it's good to see everyone here.
Thank you, Commissioner Scarola. The general comments from the fishing derby is they'd like to see it another one in September, late September. So, it's round 2.
I don't know if I have time for that.
All right. Commissioner Marley?
I'd just like to welcome everybody here and congratulate the employees that are going to be recognized tonight and for the sake of time.
Okay. Commissioner Legg?
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see everyone here this evening. I think things are starting to come around for the town and their employees and the staff, which I appreciate very much. As you guys know, I've had a little bit of medical problems lately, and every Monday meeting day, I get a call from this one young lady over there reminding me of my meetings. So you can save the call, thank you. I picked them up off my phone. So next question is, what's all this money for?
It's a special game.
That'd be all, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Legg. Commissioner Craver?
Hello to everyone. It's good to see you for the 3rd hour of tonight. I'm going to wish all of you a happy Independence Day, but it looks like we're going to have another meeting on June the 30th. So I'll probably do that if y'all come to it. One question about our Independence Day parade. When is the last date they can sign up to be in the parade?
For the first time ever, I'm gonna have to get back with you because I don't know the answer to that just yet.
Okay.
And I'll look it up and I'll email you.
And everyone that goes to the cookout, they have to go online and register there,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay, so if y'all will, those of you that want to come to the picnic, you'll have to go on the town's website and register. And then we'll be back with you on the latest date for you to sign up to be in the parade. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray.
Good evening, everybody. I'll be short as well, but I would just like to, I'm not going to mention all the events that town manager has already mentioned, but thank you all for participating in those, and thank you for everybody that participated in the 2nd annual Juneteenth that was hosted by the town of Hope Mills and Dirtbag Ales on Saturday. Special shout out to Dirtbag Ales, all the vendors, everybody, all the artists, bands, everybody that participated. Just thank you, and that's all that I have, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Big shout out to Dirtbag Ales. You know, they continue to allow this festivity event of celebration every year, and it really is great that they do that. Welcome everybody for, like Commissioner Craver said, our 3rd hour tonight. There's been a lot of discussion about the budget and the General Assembly. And I just wanted to share a couple things. And as everyone knows, that in the odd number years, the state legislature meets for the long session, where their primary task is set up the budget for the next 2 years, which is what they're trying to do now. But now that the House and Senate have both released their budget proposals, the 2 chambers must now work together to try to pass a compromise budget in time for the new fiscal year that begins July 1st. That's the goal. Don't know if they'll make it, but that's the goal. They do this through what's called a conference committee, where the legislature recently has a committee made up of members. And where I'm going with this is that the 2 representatives that represent us, and I just wanted to highlight both names, Senator Tom McInnes, District 21, who represents Cumberland and Moore counties, and locally, Representative Charles Smith, District 44, who represents Cumberland. Those are our 2 representatives that will represent our proposals that we would like to have funding for from the General Assembly going forward. I just wanted to share those 2 names, that they will be working very hard to represent Cumberland County and the entire legislative delegation. So that's all I have. We'll move on to Item A, which is employee recognitions. Sean Thompson, Fire Department, 20 years. Dwight Shepherd, Public Works, 15 years. Jasper Brock, Fire Department, 15 years. And some guy who's been here 10 years, who serves in a role as town manager, Chancellor McLaughlin. If you guys would come forward, and Leanne has this entire piece.
All right, so I just want to let the board know that we decided we're going to start recognizing some of our town staff who've been here 10 or more years at our public meetings, so we can put some faces behind some names. We'll start off with the 3 in attendance tonight. That 10-year milestone will be Chancellor McLaughlin. He's our current town manager. Previously, he served as our planning and economic development director. Next, we have a 15-year mark. That's Jasper Brock, who started here in 2010. He's currently a fire lieutenant. He previously served as firefighter and fire engineer. Not able to be here tonight is Dwight Shepherd. He's currently our sanitation crew supervisor. He's also meeting a 15-year milestone. He previously served as maintenance worker 1 and 2. And then finally, last but not least, we have our 20 years, which is Sean Thompson, who started here in 2005. He's currently a fire captain, and he served as firefighter, fire engineer, and fire lieutenant. We just want to thank you very much for your dedication to the town and the service that you provide us, and we hope you'll be here another 20 years.
Thank you very much.
Oh. Can I sit?
Let's come in this way.
You always pass it up to us.
What happened to ours?
We got a run. We got one. Probably got
Mayor. Yeah, can I go back to a question that was asked by Commissioner Craver? I got that answer. The deadline is June the 20th. So a couple of days.
Okay, next up, item B is the joint city-county emergency management presentation from Laurel Smith, City of Fayetteville, and Gary Crumpler from Cumberland County. I will tell you that this presentation is excellent. We saw it at the Mayor's Coalition. That's why the commissioners, you got a little bit of
just use a laptop.
some money here, because there's going to be a little game at the end. We'll see how well you invest the money. So welcome to our regular scheduled meeting tonight. We appreciate you taking the time and bringing this presentation, because we're getting ready to go into hurricane season. And emergency management is a big piece of that. Yeah. All the cups they're putting out, all these cups is exactly what happened at the Mayor's Coalition, and we had to invest in all of these cups, and they'll get to what they game at during the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for inviting Gary and myself out to speak with you guys this evening. And if you would, we'll go ahead and get the interactivity out of the way, and then while you're doing that, we can just kind of talk through it. 10 of you were given some Monopoly money. We are deeply sorry that could not play into this year's budget season. However, on the cups that you have in front of you are various hazards that could or could not affect Cumberland County and the town of Hope Mills. And we would like to see, where would you invest your money into mitigating disasters? Just making sure that we can do better moving forward. And they range from everything from a severe thunderstorm to an earthquake. So where would you invest your money?
Okay.
So this is on the town money, not county money, correct?
That is correct.
So you want us to take this and
Yes. However much money you would want to
put it
invest.
in?
And we have to spend it all.
So if you wanted to give $1 to extreme heat, you can invest $1 into extreme heat.
And department heads, I believe, that we gave you money, Chief, Dollinger, Chief Kane, that y'all would come up
Mr.
with
Manager.
You got a manager's cup up there?
So they're double-sided, so y'all will stay up here on the desk. and-
Okay.
Come on, baby.
Where's my priority? Down here. Wow.
Come on.
New Jersey.
I'm gonna give about 6 disciples.
Man failure. You got man failure down
Terrorism.
Now, you know, we gotta keep it down.
Tornadoes.
You gotta put this stuff up.
there. Man failure.
Living it is. As much as this one is
I just separated the denomination.
We'll rank it for you. Yeah. We'll explain the basis behind it.
They're gonna do the presentation and then while they're doing the presentation, and then do the count.
That's my business.
You're good about it?
Yes,
All right.
That cup down there better be full of damn failure, it should be full.
Real money?
I think it was first. Yeah, it wasn't damn. Shouldn't. You gotta put it in a cup.
I'm with you.
Still put on a couple damn failure. Come on.
Wildfire
Oh,
You got the info in the plate.
Show you how to do
Okay, everybody's good, everybody has invested their money. And these lovely ladies collecting and tallying your results, Amanda Sheck to my left and China Gold to my right. They are emergency management planners with Mr. Gary Crumple here at Cumberland County.
You feel good, Frank? Yeah. Okay. Little bit.
Okay, well, while they are tallying up our results, we're gonna go into a little bit about who we are and what we do with emergency management. I am Laura Smith. I started with Cumberland County in 2016 as a telecommunicator or 911 dispatcher. In 2018, I was promoted to a training officer within the 911 center where I would train new telecommunicators. In 2021, Mr. Gary took a chance on me, and I became an EM planner. And in March of last year, I moved over and became the EM coordinator for the city of Fayetteville. I have my bachelor's degree in emergency and disaster management from Western Carolina University, and will graduate from Clemson University in May with my master's in public administration.
All right, my name is Gary Crumpler. I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator and Interim Emergency Services Director with the county. I started my career early as a volunteer fireman at Grays Creek Fire Department 24, and from there I just got the bug, and I wanted to progress professionally. So I went on to the city of Lumberton and was a firefighter there for about 5 years. Went on to the town of Chapel Hill, got homesick, missed my mom, so I came home back to the county, and I wanted to serve the county in which I lived in and grew up in my entire life. After I was a planner, my supervisor left, and then I became the coordinator. I got it in the county kind of through COVID, so if you imagine the whole Crown Coliseum, the mass vaccination, my office was very instrumental in planning that whole effort. I have a bachelor's degree in fire protection technology, and then I'm a certified emergency manager through IAEM.
Our objectives this evening will be to define the concept and scope of what emergency management is. We'll identify common goals and objectives of what our respective programs are, explain key laws and statutes that relate to what we do, describe the responsibilities of elected officials during emergency, and then we'll talk about some executive orders, and we have participated in our interactive activity. So what is emergency management? Defining a disaster in a community. So a disaster is any event that causes significant disruption, harm, or destruction to a community. And it's not just narrowed down to or limited to weather-related incidents. It includes public health emergencies, such as a pandemic with COVID, technological failures, hazardous material spills, infrastructure failures, and acts of terrorism. Something that we the county now deals with almost daily is a hazardous material incident. That, because of 95, it does often happen. So we plan for a wide range of disasters to ensure resilience and preparedness. All of the cups that you have before you this evening, we plan in case those events happen. We work through the 4 phases of emergency management, which is mitigation, which is reducing the risk and preventing disasters before they happen, which, as you all know, with the Hope Mills Dam and the dam failure, just making sure that that doesn't happen again. So how do we mitigate that to make sure it doesn't happen again? Preparedness is when we do our planning, training, and equipping of responders. Response is the immediate actions to protect lives and property, and recovery. So it's restoring the community and infrastructure post-disaster. Our ultimate goal when we see something happen or something occurs is to get back to normal or a sense of normalcy as quickly as possible. So some key goals and objectives that we work with are to minimize impact on people and property. Everyone likes their things. We want to make sure they keep their things. I like amenities. I don't want to be uncomfortable. Ensure effective coordination and communication, which is something that Gary and I do really well, even though I left him for the city. Provide timely and efficient disaster response and support community resilience and long-term recovery. Important laws and general statutes.
So how do we work through that? And a lot of what we do is in the emergency management world is governed by 166A of the North Carolina General Statute. And it says what we as emergency managers, as well as you as elected officials, are allowed to do during an emergency. So how do you declare a state of emergency? Can you ban the purchase of certain things? Can you impose a curfew? Those types of things are covered under 166A. The Robert T. Stafford Act, all of us should be very familiar with that. So that's going to be your public assistance. So after a disaster has occurred and a homeowner is not properly insured, how does the state and federal government pass down that assistance through the county and to the towns for you to help citizens get back to a state of normalcy? The Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, we highlighted that because it's very important. Anybody have an idea of why? I'm quizzing you, so you pay attention. No. So the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 says that you have to have, town has to have a hazard mitigation plan. The hazard mitigation plan is directly tied to grants. So say the town wanted to do roadway infrastructure and you wanted to submit a brick grant. If that is not outlining your hazard mitigation plan, then you can't receive the funding for it. So anything that mitigates or increases the town resiliency, we're getting ready to start our next hazard mitigation plan. So you want to make sure that you participate in that as elected officials. The Emergency Planning Right to Know Act, or best known as EPCRA, has anybody heard of the LEPC before? The Local Emergency Planning Committee? Besides you. So the Local Emergency Planning Committee is designed to help U.S. citizens. So it says that any industry that produces a chemical of any type within our jurisdiction, they have to tell the community what they're producing and what chemicals that they have at their facility. So we get the question all the time, well, how come you didn't pick out what was at Chemours? Chemours is technically not in Cumberland County. They fall under the Bladen County LEPC. They just have boundaries that fall within Cumberland County. So the Price-Anderson Act, that has a lot to do with nuclear. How many of y'all knew that we were in the ingestion pathway zone for Sharon Harris nuclear plant? So Cumberland County Code of Ordinances, as well as your perspective or your town's code of ordinances, will also help make some of the decisions. So the responsibility of county government. What am I supposed to do as your emergency management coordinator? I'm supposed to coordinate with local municipal officials to let them know what the county is doing, and also for you to let us know what you are doing. The county has to establish a local emergency management agency. And then at the county level, we are the official overarching agency for the entire county. Now, municipalities, towns, you can establish your own emergency management agency, and such as how the city of Danville has done, the town of Apex, multiple jurisdictions have municipal emergency management agencies. And then Lastly, as a county, depending on what the incident is, we can declare a state of emergency for the entire county. Usually we try to have that more coordination done. That way, it's not duplication of efforts on your side, but and we'll talk about it in a second, but it's completely within your right as a municipality, as a town, to declare a state of emergency on your own. We already kind of talked about that. So outlining towns and municipalities' responsibilities, again, you can establish your own emergency management agency. And you have to coordinate, your responsibility is to coordinate with county and state agencies. More than likely, your state coordination, unless it's something that's impacting just the town, is likely going to go through the county. And then again, as a town, you can declare a local state of emergency on your own. So does anybody know, under a state of emergency, what powers that you can, or what powers you have as local elected officials? Yep, so what actions can you do? Can you impose a curfew? Don't say that too loud. Can you ban the purchase of certain firearms and alcohol? Yeah. So depending on whatever the state of emergency is, you have those powers as elected officials. So again, that goes under the North Carolina Emergency Management Act. And this highlights, you can impose curfews, you can impose evacuations. I have evacuations in asterisk. Why? Because you can impose an evacuation, but you cannot force somebody out of their home. The only punishment for that is a fine. But who wants to fine somebody who's lost everything already? You can restrict movement on operation and businesses. So all of us can remember COVID-19, where DHHS restricted the opening of certain types of businesses, and then the control of alcohol and dangerous weapons. So in 2020, the state did an update in regards to the state of emergency. And they essentially said that your state of emergency is not valid unless it's posted on your jurisdiction's website, plain and simple, front page, and then you have to submit your state of emergency to the county emergency manager, and we have to upload it into the state WebEOC platform. Another duty as a county emergency manager is I'm responsible for managing the County Emergency Operations Center. So if you think of like the war room, that's what that is for the county. So any large disasters that extend our capabilities, that's the room that we manage it out of. Now we encourage you as a town, and I know speaking with the town manager and the fire chief, that y'all have an EOC of y'all's own here. So that's a very, very good step in the right direction. And we encourage you to bolster that and increase that capability. How we kind of work through incidents is we use the National Incident Management System, which gives you a framework for managing incidents. So you have an incident commander, and then you have subsequent positions under that that have certain roles and responsibilities. Where you come in, you're the multi-agency coordination group. You set the policy for the town to give guidance to your employees on how you want an incident handled. That's a sample EOC type structure.
So there were some recent changes in policy, and they did start with the previous administration, and they have just carried over with our new administration. So executive order on state and local preparedness was published on March the 18th, 2025. 2025. National resilience guidance was published, I believe, was it December? Was it in the fall of last year. And so what does that mean for emergency management? So what it does is it gives us, at the local level, responsibilities. It just shifts the responsibilities from FEMA and puts them on a local level. One of our biggest sayings at emergency management is every disaster starts local, ends local. So it's not necessarily taking FEMA from it. And again, we don't know what's going to happen with FEMA. So it's just, we're taking care of our own. It encourages state and local investments in disaster resilience and focuses on localized decision-making and preparedness efforts. The National Resilience Guidance was introduced as part of the executive order to enhance infrastructure security and risk mitigation. And it shifts from an all hazards approach to a risk-informed strategy. So this is in risk and hazard mitigation. So Gary talked a little bit about the hazard mitigation plan a little bit earlier. We are in a regional plan with Hope County, so we do one big one together. But like he said, everyone is encouraged to participate in those findings to identify every source of risk or hazard that could be faced. The guidance also encourages state and local entities to take more responsibility for disaster readiness. And this could be as simple as promoting to have a kit ready. You know, the fire department does a great job of promoting fire safety and 2 ways in, 2 ways out, and have an emergency kit, and very similar, just education for disaster preparedness. So with all of those new governing guidelines, it has increased autonomy and responsibility for state and local governments. If the town of Hope Mills wants to do something a little bit differently than the city of Fayetteville, completely entitled to, as well as Cumberland County, but just know that we all fall under the arching authority of Cumberland County. There is a potential reduction in federal support requiring stronger local planning and investment, and I think we've already seen that in some of the federal cuts in programs. And there's the emphasis on localized risk assessment and infrastructure resilience to address specific community vulnerabilities. And again, I'm going to talk about the dam because that, I think, is the largest probably disaster that Hope Mills faced within recent years. I do remember Memorial Day weekend. I think I was at my parents' house, but anyway, that was a big one. That was a big one. So just making sure that that does not happen again, or even those that were affected by it. How far did the flood come in? You know, protecting those residents, making sure that they're informed. As simple as educating about flood insurance. Most people think that their homeowner's insurance carries flood insurance. It does not. Individuals will need to purchase a separate rider to go along with that. So we are a critical function for public safety. We are guided by those 4 phases of mitigation, response, recovery. And we do ongoing training and collaboration. That's how we succeed. Gary and I have decided we're going to put together this presentation, and we did it just to inform people what it is exactly that we do, because I think a lot of folks think that as emergency management, we monitor the Weather Channel, and that's about it. They think about us when it's hurricane season, but not much else. But what happens when you have to evacuate your town hall? Where do you go? It is about all of those plans, continuity of operations. Something happens, the government still has to run. You know, the town still has to run. How do we keep our citizens functioning as normal as possible? So that's our ultimate goal.
All right, so that concludes the presentation. Before we get into the results of, if you don't know, you essentially just completed a FIRA, which is a threats assessment for your town. And whether or not you know it or not, the town is going to take this data and we're going to use it. So, any questions about emergency management, what we do, how we can help the town?
Any questions from the board? No questions from Commissioner Marley, of course, but the other members of our board.
I will say this, thank y'all for coming in and doing that for us tonight. I have had the opportunity to work with both of these individuals multiple times, and they are true professionals of what they do.
Thank you, Commissioner Marley. I like the word regional, 'cause I'm a regional focused guy too. But in, you know, in times of disasters and emergencies, the 9 municipalities in Cumberland County, we all work together as one, because that's who we are. And since I've been mayor, we've had that opportunity to do that. We're fortunate here in Hope Mills that we have a very good EOC that works in concert with the city and with Cumberland County. And that's really, it's been a very life-saving relationship, and for property as well. And I really like to hear that we have a relationship with Hope County, and that works well too. I thank both of you for coming and taking the time and sharing these slides, because as we getting ready to prep up for another hurricane season, you know, this is the time you want to be prepared for emergencies and disasters and hurricanes.
Absolutely. And Mayor, we appreciate it, and council as well. Thank you for the invitation. So without further ado, your top 5. Number 1, inland flooding.
Okay.
Number 2, hurricane. Number 3, cyber. Number 4, dam failure.
4? He's down to number 4? Ah.
And number 5, severe thunderstorm. And we'll share this complete list with the town manager. That way he can go through the rest of it for you. So,
Well, like you said, that's an assessment, and it's a good sample group that you pulled from, so we'll use that.
I really feel like the board here feels as though, and I know dam failure number 4, but you guys have done a really good job of mitigating the dam and making sure that it is in a good, strong position. So it's okay that it moves down a bit.
Okay. Well, we've got an excellent public works team that stays on top of that dam constantly 24/7.
Mayor, I was gonna add that and give kudos to Bruce and Don. I want to actually acknowledge Gary and his staff, because you guys, man, I know we actually were called to coordinate with them a few weeks ago to talk about all of the municipalities being on the same sheet of music with up and coming hurricanes. We even talked about public information, press releases. When you typically see a hurricane or weather event and you see City of Fayetteville at the EOC with the county, we've been invited to be included in that. So they are doing a lot of amazing things to make sure countywide we are actually on the sheet of music. I think we're gearing up for our first exercise and things of that nature. So I definitely want to acknowledge them for reaching out to Hope Mills and including us in this coordination.
I really appreciate you guys coming out tonight. You got your students, I was 10 years my age, and it's gone fast. We appreciate the information you shared with us this evening. I'm probably up on this department of yours. Not better than anybody in here, but as good maybe. My daughter happens to be the dispatch out of Cape Fear Valley. So anything new she brings into me and says, "Do you need this?" I didn't know I was going to need this tonight. So I sat down here and started reading this. So we appreciate everything you've done and everything you'll have to do in the future. God be with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lake. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Our next item, we're into presentations. Item C, proclamation recognizing Juneteenth under tab 2. Commissioner Squirrella has this one.
Thank you, Mayor. Juneteenth proclamation. Whereas at 2 p.m. on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1863, using his war powers as president, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation providing that all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state shall be thenceforth and forever free. And whereas the Emancipation Proclamation made the permanent abolition of slavery a Union war aim and provided the legal framework for for the emancipation of nearly 4 million slaves as the Union armies advanced. And whereas Juneteenth, a blending of the words June and 19th, is the oldest known U.S. celebration of the end of slavery. It commemorates June 19th, 1865, where Major General Gordon Granger arrived at Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of both the Civil War and slavery. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. And whereas Texans began the celebration of Juneteenth in 1866 with community events such as parades, cookouts, prayer gatherings, musical performances, and historical cultural readings. And as freed families emigrated from Texas to other parts of the United States, they carried the Juneteenth celebration with them. And whereas Al Edwards, a freshman state representative, put forward the bill, HB 1016, in 1979, making Texas the first state to grant this emancipation celebration. And whereas in 2021, Juneteenth became a federally recognized holiday, and Hope Mills Board of Commissioners voted to observe the holiday in Hope Mills as well. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2025 as Juneteenth in the town of Hope Mills, proclaimed the 16th day of June, 2025.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Stroll. Next item is proclamation recognizing Independence Day. It's under tab 3. Proclamation Independence Day, July 4th, 2025. Whereas on Independence Day, we remember names like Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Franklin, and Hancock. In honor of their courage and vision, we are grateful that our founding fathers pledged their lives and sacred honor to create an independent America. And whereas we are thankful that this nation under God is still free, independent, and America is a place of liberty and opportunity for which we are blessed and proud to call home. And whereas on this 4th of July, we honor the brave men and women of our military and first responders and their families, and express gratitude for their courage and dedication to duty to preserve our freedom. And whereas on this day, we renew our allegiance to the United States, democracy, and freedom, and are grateful we can come together as a community to celebrate our freedoms, understanding that in some areas of the globe, freedom is threatened. Now, therefore, I, Jesse Bellflower, as mayor of the town of Hope Mills, do hereby proclaim Friday, July 4th, 2025 as Independence Day in the town of Hope Mills, and urge all citizens and visitors alike to join with me on this day as we celebrate Independence Day in the town of Hope Mills, proclaim this 16th day of June 2025. Next item is proclamation recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month under tab 4. Mayor Pro Tem, you want to pray at this one?
Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of the communities throughout this country, including the town of Hope Mills, and whereas parks and recreation promote health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live in the parks, and whereas parks and recreation promote time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas parks and recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking, trails, swimming pools, many other activities designated to promote active lifestyles. And whereas parks and recreation programming and education activities such as out of school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas parks and recreation are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community, and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Hope Mills recognizes the benefits derived from sports and recreation resources, therefore it be resolved by the town of Hope, by the Board of Hope Mills Commissioners, that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the town of Hope Mills.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray. We're moving on to item number 4. We have public hearing. We only have one tonight. Under item A, economic development incentives being considered for Project Shade, a United States headquartered company that is considering 103 Tom Starling Road for a new manufacturing and distribution center. The information is under tab 6. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open public hearing.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second to open the public hearing. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the economic development incentive considered for Project Shade?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Patton, Executive Vice President for the Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development Corporation. As the Mayor just said, this is a U.S.-based manufacturer, specifically domestic accent items. So think of things in the home, some stuff in the office. What they are doing is they are looking to create 45 new jobs by 2026. With the investment with this company, it will increase the tax base of Hope Mills by $10 million. What this grant, this incentive would go towards would be to extend a gas line. This is an unforecasted expense that this company has looked at. Additionally, as this property was developed, they experienced an additional $1 million of unforecasted expenses for stormwater control systems. So they've already gone through several iterations of unforecasted expenses for this project. The way this would work, so the gas line will cost a little over $67,000. If approved, each job, the grant would pay $750 up to, for the 45 jobs created. So each job is $750. They have to create those jobs in order to earn that investment or that part of the grant. They also would have to put in the gas line, show their expenses, show that they've hired these jobs. Then the grant would be paid, the incentive would be paid to the company. So this is not an upfront, this is a performance-based grant, if you will. Additionally, the town will receive more than $50,000 annual revenue and taxes. And there will be more than $1.9 million of the annual wages to be paid by employees if this is going through. So, subject to any of your questions, I'll stand by to answer those.
Any questions from the board before I ask him? You got something, Commissioner Fraser? Okay.
Okay. What is the actual name of the company?
That we're still under protection on that, so it's still staying under Project Shade now.
So we don't know who it is. Can you tell me what they manufacture?
Again, to protect the identity of this project, it's things you would find in your home. So if accent items for your home.
Okay. Why can they not afford to put in the gas line?
So they have invested a lot of money already. This is unforecasted. If they don't get this grant, they won't be able to get to these 45 jobs to hire them.
Okay, well, what happens if we pay the $33,750 in the grant and they just up and close? What happens then?
Well, yes, ma'am. So they will have already invested the money. They will have already done the hiring, and they will have already put the gas line in. So they won't get any money until those conditions are met. Now, if they close at that point, you know.
We just have.
But again, they won't get to those 45 jobs for the investment if we don't do this grant.
Well, how many full-time employees do they expect to hire? Because if you go on that, they said $1,900,000 in wages. If you divide that $38,000 per year, and I realize that the president is going to get more and all this kind of stuff, it looks like there's gonna be around 500 employees.
No, when you look at, that's the average salaries, as you mentioned, so up and down and through there is how you get to 1.9.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Okay, Rob, just to clarify, these are 45 new jobs, correct, sir? Okay. All right, thank you, Rob. Yes, sir. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of the economic development incentive considered for Project Shade? Okay, sir?
Yes, and I got the question of it seems like the ROI, the return on investment for this project is actually very beneficial for the township, both in tax revenue. I remember last week you guys were discussing that there's a $2 million deficit in sales tax revenue. Maybe this can overcome that a little bit. And I think I used to work for that company, but I'm not going to mention it. That company that he is potentially speaking of, I know for sure. I managed a warehouse close to 7 years ago, and it's a great company to work for. They take care of their employees a lot. They have a lot of functions within Hope Mills Township. Again, that money gets pumped back into the township, whether that's through renting some space at Parks and Rec or something to that effect. Or, I remember we had a function at Fairfax which supports the township. So all in all, it seems like this company, which they work for, is all about the township of Hope Mills.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Swirl?
Now, sir, I do have a question. Now, essentially because you're essentially asking for money, do you have any copies of any kind of financials that'll guarantee that we get our money returned?
Yeah, so that, all that has been looked through. I don't have them with me, but they are a reputable company.
Which means they've been vetted.
They've been vetted.
Okay. By the fable, Cumberland Economics. Okay, sir. Mr. Lake?
You said these records have been looked through. Who have been chosen to look through the records? Would it be our finance director, or our town manager, or someone from this organization?
I know they have been looked through. I don't know if this municipality has looked through them. I can't answer that for you.
I wouldn't be in favor of doing it without us looking through. That's why we have a finance director and a town manager.
Okay.
That's all.
Any other comments?
Town manager, do you have any input?
I have a long-standing relationship with FCDC. They're the economic development wing of the entire county. The county pays them to do these types of initiatives. I want to make sure we're very clear here. We're supposed to approve this budget this evening. We're talking about raising taxes. We have a job coming to Hope Mills to create employment at a certain salary. And it's a return on investment because we all know that industrial development has the highest return on tax value. So when I'm presented with something from a reputable organization like FCEDC, and it's tied to economic development, it's tied to job creation, and it's tied to a key piece, the expansion of our tax base. I think when you look at the way it's set up, they're not asking for us for money up front. The company would have to hit milestones that would trigger our request or our actual submission of funds. They're also asking for the rest of the money to be paid for by the county, but they have to come here to get our approval first. So I think Mr. Patton has indicated that the first time they can get to the county is in August because the county recesses in July. And so this is typically, if we're talking about doing something off Chickenfoot Road, and we're talking about trying to extend water and sewer to create regional development, we're talking about site readiness, FCEDC will put together some type of package like this as an incentive, and this is typically what they do. And so when they brought it to me, I had enough confidence based on the way it was set up to be able to put it on the agenda for consideration.
And if I might add too, they voluntarily annexed into the city. So that is something to take into consideration too. They did not have to do that, they chose to annex into the city of property.
I'd like to add that the Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation, in which you, Rob, serve as vice president, and of course, and then your residence is here in Oakland.
It is, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Along with Robert Van-Giens, who is the president and CEO of this organization, has an exemplary record of vetting companies that come through Cumberland County. Exemplary, without question. So I know that there was some discussion about looking at documents. That's what their job is. That's what they do, and they will monitor this entire process all the way through these milestones. This doesn't end here tonight. It just begins here tonight. Because in August, if the board approves this initiative, this very same company, and probably Rob and both of you guys will go before Cumberland County for the other half. So it's a partnership, is what it really is, between Cumberland County and the town of Hope Mills, because this company voluntarily annexed into Hope Mills. They are investing in our community.
Amen.
And all they want is for us to invest in them. Okay, go ahead.
So if we so choose to move forward, approve, what have you, what would be the next steps? I don't know if the town manager can. So
Ultimately, I think it goes to the county, next, and I also want to paint this picture, and Rob can add this, is the amount of jobs they created. So, correct me if I'm wrong, if they don't create the 45, if they create less than that, the amount to us would be less as well, because it's a multiplier of 750 per job.
And so, ma'am, what I will add is the next step, so it's approved, will be county, there will be an agreement between the project. At that point, you'll know the company name, between the company and the town of Hope Mills, setting the conditions that the town attorney will review and vet and all that stuff and approve or modify as needed. And then if it's in a agreement between that organization and you all that if we make these things happen, then we get these funds. If we don't do this, we do not get these funds. So this is not a carte blanche we're approving tonight, this money. It's action for it.
that gives me a little bit more, because I'm like, basically we're not gonna tell you who we are, we're not gonna tell you about our finances, but go ahead and giving me a little bit more, that gives me a little bit more of a warm.
And if I may add to what the mayor and chancellor both said too, we do this all the time with Fayetteville.
You do it well.
So thank you, sir, I appreciate that. So, and I know my comfort may not be comforting to you, but I would not stand here if this was not a solid deal. I'm not putting my reputation on the line for something that I'm like, I don't know. So, for what it's worth. And again, the tax dollars are being spent, some of it's coming from my property taxes as well. Yes, ma'am.
45 new jobs, you cannot guarantee that just Hope Mills people will get those 45 jobs, correct?
That's 100%, but no other community other than Hope Mills and Cumberland County are getting the tax dollars off the property as well.
But I mean, if somebody from Grace Creek or Rayford or came to apply and they got one of those 45 jobs, then we would be paying for them, not just our residents here in Hope Mills.
I mean, we can't limit who gets hired by the
Right.
I mean, but conversely, when Fayetteville approves a job incentive, they're not saying, hey, Hope Mills, you're going to be, so, yes, ma'am. And as the mayor said, 9 united municipalities to make Cumberland County regional hiring.
Well, I'm not worried about Fayetteville right now, I'm worried about Hope Mills, so thank you.
Can I caveat that for a moment? That's discriminatory. You can't ask somebody to be from Hope Mills to work in Hope Mills.
Coach.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in favor of the initiative? If not, is there anyone here that would like to oppose the initiative? Is there anyone here that would like to oppose the initiative, Project J? Motion to close public hearing? Second? We have a motion. We have a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Before we say that, before we take the vote first, discussion on this. Just to clarify something, it kind of bothers me when I hear, I have two comments. First, yes, let's sign a petition to be annexed into the town of Hope Mills, because in order to get water from PWC, water and sewer, they have to be annexed into the nearest municipality, which happens to be Hope Mills. So the whole volunteering, that's that part of it. I hate to hear that when I know what it is, which is no problem. We benefit from it. It is what it is at this point. But I think that this board has a chance to create 45 new jobs here. Great return on investment. We probably get about $50,000 in annual tax revenue just off of property taxes. That'll help, as the manager said, this budget. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody. You know, what we're looking at here, I think it's a win for the town. I don't see any negative about this proposal. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Back to our motion to close the public hearing in a second. All in favor? Okay. Do we have an action? Public hearing's closed. Do we have an action?
What does the motion need to be? How do we need to state the motion? I'll make it, but I need to know what I need.
I think it's just a motion to approve the request from FCEDC to move forward with an incentive-based program that they will come back to you with an agreement. But they can't actually move forward with the agreement piece if you don't actually approve some type of recommendation to proceed forward.
Just starting the process, Commissioner Martin.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
As stated by the manager.
All right. Do we have a second? Okay. Any other discussion on the initiative Project Shade?
I would just like to say, I'm glad they chose Hope Mills, because they could have chosen somewhere else to go to come to county. So I appreciate you for choosing Hope Mills, because they didn't have to choose us.
I believe it didn't have to. Okay. All in favor? Those opposed? Mr. Labor, please. You're opposed? Okay. Okay, motion will carry 3-2. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Public comments is next under item number 5. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? We only have one speaker. Each speaker is asked to limit comments to 3 minutes. Total comment period will be 30 minutes or less. One citizen has already signed up. So any topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the appropriate town officials or staff and may be scheduled for a future agenda. Although the board is interested in hearing the concerns, speakers should not expect board action or deliberation on subject matter brought up by the public comment segment. Coach Mo, you signed up tonight. Come forward, sir. We appreciate you bringing your input and questions to the board.
Before I start, I just want to wish the Army again a happy 250th birthday, and God bless our Almighty 2nd Airborne Division. All right. So, as you know, I'm a diehard advocate of Parks and Rec. It is easily, without taxes being considered, the largest passive income source of income in the township. With that being said, there's 3,500 athletes in Parks and Rec as of the last season. If we just took number 3,000 athletes, right, and $45 per athlete for non-residents that come in here, that makes up 60% of that 3,000. So 60% of our athletes that are here, participants at Hope Mills Parks and Rec, come from Parkton, Lumber Bridge, things of that nature. They can pay $10 extra. The standard fee is $35, right? $35. So 42,000 $105,000 is just people coming in to play our sports because we have a more competitive program. That's not just saying that my wrestling program is the best, but it is the third best in the state. Or our football teams, our baseball team is known as the second best, and our baseball teams here are known as the second best in the state. We send a plethora of kids to the World Series, Dixie Youth World Series. Shoot, that 60% was 63,000. The 40% that are local, there is 42,000 of that 105,000. That is just the flag football, indoor, outdoor soccer, spring baseball, ball baseball, wrestling, and basketball. That is not including the senior events. That is not including every single rental, every event, every single person that touches foot on Hope Mills property that buys something from JT's or whatever else have you, and he rents the space. Taxes are being paid from that. It's a great source of income. We are running out of space. People want to come to Hope Mills. If you come northbound on I-95, you got 3 exits to get into Cumberland County. Those first 3 are all Hope Mills. It would be great to see a larger facility or a different facility, granting our seniors the ability to be able to lock that facility down and have their own space. They deserve it. They absolutely do. They deserve this spot. They deserve some kind of pickleball or whatever they want to do. With that being said, I just think that if we gainfully deploy our youth, it keeps them off of cheap slaughter, and it gives them a respect for authority, for positions like yourselves, fire chief, police chief, and the municipality, and maybe create further employees for the township if they stay here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Mark. That ends public comments. Our next item on the agenda is consent agenda. Items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yeah, I'm not making a motion we approve items A through F in the consent agenda.
We have a motion. We have a second to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F. Any discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, all items are approved. That's the end of the consent agenda. We go to item number 7, which is old business, and as usual, we usually do not have old business. No, we don't have old people. Under new business, item A, approval of the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget ordinance and corresponding fee schedule under tab 12. Drew, you have this.
I'm just going to say we've had the budget workshops, we've had a public hearing, we've answered all the questions, y'all reviewed it, you've made your changes, and now we have the final budget before you. It's just up to you to approve the ordinance and the fee schedule.
Thank you, Drew. You're right. We've been in budget workshops and we've been planning since January. Since the first couple of weeks of January to get to where we are tonight. To include adding another workshop at the 5 o'clock early session. I think we've answered just about every question. We've addressed every question. We've gone through this budget back and forth. And now it's time to make a decision.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve our 25-26 budget ordinance and corresponding fee schedule.
So, we have a motion. We have a second. Do we have any more discussion on the proposed $22 million town operating budget? Before I call for the vote, do we have any more or last discussion?
One thing I'd like to know is how much, had we not had the revaluation done, how much would we have to increase the tax this year on the 51 cents that we already have?
I'm not sure if it's possible to calculate that, because what happens is the value of the penny, and Drew could actually correct this, increase with the reval. And so you have to go back to the value of the penny prior to reval to determine what it would have cost to meet the 1.9 and weigh that against it. I mean, but if that would have been emailed to us prior to, we probably could have an answer for you this evening, but you, I mean, you can.
I could run a few numbers and guess at that, but there's really, it would all be just a hypothetical. Because with the revow, all the values of every property in town has changed.
Right.
There's no way to go back and say, well, here's what it was and here's what it could have been. We don't know that. I'd have to go back and say, all right, what's our average increase over the last several years, like we used in the revow? I think it was 3-point-something%. So we can take last year's value times that 3% and then base it on that. But I haven't run those numbers, so I don't know off the top of my head.
I was just curious about that. If we, not had the revow, I feel sure to get to the revow number that we are using now, we would have had to have increased the 51 cents.
Yes.
Yeah, it would probably been 60 or 70 cents with it.
And that I don't know. If
Yeah, I think it would have been quite high. All right, thank you.
But you know, Commissioner Barber, look at the services that have been added. This budget not only looks at this current year, this budget looks at future years of the services that are delivered by the town. And I just wanted to make that, just wanted to share that comment.
Mayor, I do have a comment, for people that did not tune in to our budget session meeting at 5 o'clock. The town manager is preparing something showing, the things that were cut from this budget, and also included things that we were able to add to this budget. And if we could, somebody did ask me this earlier about like, you know how you did it first before you estimated, like if your home is $200,000, this is the estimate of how much it will go up per year, because people will start saying.
What is that? Again, it goes back to the same thing. It's hard to calculate that because it's a revalued year. So everybody's property has changed. They've changed different amounts. So on average, residential went up 70%, but not every house. So it's really hard to, for this particular year, to say what that difference would have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, Dr. Tim McCray. Chancellor will be working on a press release to highlight everything that's in this budget that was proposed from our departments, and to include a lot of the discussions that went through the budget workshops. There'll be a detailed press release sometime probably tomorrow morning to highlight everything that's actually. There's a lot that's in this budget. I mean, it's a $22 million budget. There's a lot in here. Okay, Commissioner Swallow.
So I've gotten quite a bit of feedback about, the budget and so again, reiterate what's been said previously is we started at a deficit when with the per capita ad valorem, $1.9 million. We knew we were going to have to pay that back. And a lot of people are like, well, the county's not raising their taxes. Well, they don't have to because they're taking our 1.9 million along with Spring Lake is losing 1.7 and whatever, how many million Fayetteville's losing. So they wouldn't have to, but we don't have that luxury. We have to make up for it somehow. So, that's all I have.
Okay, and a penny in all these municipalities
Different
are
value,
different
each one.
revenue.
Very cool.
Every one of the all 9 municipalities, penny is different in every one of them.
And Mayor, to add to that, the amount they have to go above revenue neutral to cover their shortfalls are different as well. And so it's really not an apples to apples comparison comparing us with Fayetteville, because I think the value of their penny is about 10 times the value of ours. And so you really have to just make sure you understand how it affects the municipality that we're living.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. I thought you did. Okay. Okay. So we have a motion.
Yeah, it was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem and a second made by Commissioner Marley.
I thought we had a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? 3. All opposed? 2. The budget will pass 3-2.
Thank you. We have a budget for next year. I've got your copies for you here, and it will be on the town website at some point later this week.
Thank you very much, Drew. Item B, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 33 in the amount of,
Thank you, sir.
in the amount of $191,500. That's under tab 13. You running all the amendments, Drew?
I'll introduce them. These are some budget amendments to catch us up for year end. I do this every year. I've actually got 3 here. The first is for the police department. And we had to add some funds this year for overtime and for vehicle equipment for the leased vehicles.
I guess the increase for the vehicle equipment is for the cameras for the cars. All of the cars have, in-car cameras that review footage, which is pretty standard. And then the rest was to cover overtime because we're so short. But I anticipate that will be going down for next year. Now we're finally getting in place.
People in place and 24/7 operation. Beginning 1 July.
July, yes,
Or a little bit past that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any comments?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve budget amendment number 33 for 191.5.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All 3? Okay, unanimous, 5-0 in the affirmative. Item C, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 34 in the amount of $42,000. That's under tab 14.
And if you need specifics, Lamarco is here, but this one, the same thing for Parks and Rec, for utilities, part-time salaries, and program instruction.
So, with that one, Drew and I had this conversation about a week ago. It should have went with the last budget amendment we had last time, but for whatever reason it wasn't, which makes me have to stand up for you again and explain. But essentially, part-time salaries mainly for summer camp, which we have now. The money to pay the instruction portion of it. So we have summer camp, and then we have the contract instructors that teaches the different classes: drama, arts and crafts, martial arts, 4-H, things of that nature. That's what this funding is for. Unfortunately, during the budget season last year, for those that wonder why it wasn't budgeted, the budget for those items were cut to balance the budget. So we did ask for a certain amount, and that amount was reduced.
But Marco, that goes back to the old saying, pay up front or pay later. Well, that's what we're doing tonight. We're paying later.
We absolutely did. We actually, we've taken the data from this year and added the 3% based on the increase and what we're seeing. And so, yes, we did. We did. The other thing we're going to do is, and I hate to say it, but there's not going to be, well, I'm not going to say it now. We're going to work not to have any more budget amendments in it, but I just want you all to know that in doing so, we might have to cut programs or cut back on some of the things we offer because of being afraid of running over in part-time salaries. So I just want to throw that out there.
Something. You all told us last year though, that because this was the first full year, you all did not know what the amount would be, that we would probably have to do a budget amendment.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. We anticipated this.
Okay, I thought so.
It's just one of those things where, and you'll see on this next budget amendment, I wait till the end of the year. So it does 2 things. I can do the actual amount that's needed and only the amount that's needed, or if certain things can happen during the year that we don't have to do a budget amendment, then we don't have to do it. There were some other things that happened in other departments where we didn't have to do a budget amendment because of other unforeseen things that happened, or things that we anticipate did happen. So.
Well, and 2, I don't want to cut services for our citizens.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't want people to do that, thinking they can't come to us if they need an amendment because we don't want to take the services for our citizens. But that's what we're doing.
And every year I bring these to you to just, we have to do these in order for the budget to work. And I'm hoping that during the year, something will happen that we don't have to do a budget limit, but on occasion we did.
No, I agree with Dr. McCray. I don't think we need to get in a situation where our departments are scared to provide services because they're gonna go over budget. I mean, if we have to do budget amendments, that's what we're here for. So, I'd like to make a motion that we approve budget amendment number 34 for 42,000.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor? Okay, that's 5-0. In the affirmative. Item D, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 35 in the amount of $2,800. That's under tab 15.
Okay, if you look at the actual budget amendment, it's for a lot more than 2,800, but the net amount is $2,800. That's just for some interest on the fire truck loan, but we're also moving the money that we anticipated getting from the county for the remainder of the SRO and the addition to the police department at the beginning of this budget year. We were hoping to get some more funding for the vehicles, extra officers, those sorts of things. We waited to the last possible minute. Actually, the mayor and I are still working on something, and we'll see if that comes through. But for now, since that's still an unknown, I have to reallocate the money, the $466,000 from county reimbursement to using fund balance, because we did not get it funded from anywhere during the year. We have to have it covered somewhere. And since we're not getting it from the county, we're going to have to pull reserves in order to pay for that.
And just to highlight that, Drew, and the board knows this, I shared an email with the entire board today. I reached back out to the county officials at the schools and renewed my request for funding for this current year in the amount of $122,000 for 6 vehicles, and for funding for next year, which is in this budget that just got approved, at the amount of $142,000. So we're still working it. I don't know what the result's going to be. I do know that Cumberland County Board of Commissioners will approve their budget, which includes the school budget, I think maybe this week. And if I have to make a trip there, that's what I'll do. But we are providing a service to the county schools, and those cars are part of that service. And we ponied up to 122 this year, and we're seeking reimbursement, and we're seeking payment for the 142 for next year for the cars to provide the service. So it's not like it's we stopped trying to get the funds. We have not. We will continue trying to get this funding, even if we have to go to the meetings ourselves and formally request it. So I just kind of wanted to share that point, that we're currently still working this issue. And it's part of assuming the SRO mission that we assumed last year to keep our kids, faculty, and staff safe in all the schools in Hope Mills. That's what we're doing. Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve budget amendment number 35 in the amount of $2,800.
Second? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, 5-0 in the affirmative. Item E, consideration to authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding for partnership opportunities with the T.J. Robertson Life Center, and that's under tab 16.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Before Mrs. Robinson come up, I just want to say that in an effort to address the growth in our programs by over 30% and the uncertainty of whether it's going to be a community center or a senior center, we are constantly looking for other ways and opportunities to expand our programs with what we have. And so in April 2025, the board instructed staff to meet with staff from T.J. Robertson Center. And so we've had several meetings, some with myself, some informal, to kind of kick around ideas and talk about our needs, and then also talk about the needs of the T.J. Robertson Center. So tonight, Liz Robinson here is to present opportunities for partnerships. But I want to say there's really no request at this point for MOU. We just wanted Ms. Robinson to have a chance to discuss the opportunities and what her proposal is. And then at a later date, we'll come back and talk about MOUs and leasing, if you all so fit, or if that's your desire. So with that, I'll let Ms. Robinson present.
Okay. Greetings, Charlotte.
Good afternoon. How's everybody? I want to apologize in advance for the low energy. I don't feel too well tonight, but this is on the schedule. Is extremely important. Let me first say I just want to thank the current mayor and the board here, because this is the first time I've stepped up to this podium and didn't feel like I needed to have on some boxing gloves and be, feeling like the redhead stepchild. So this is the first time that has happened. And to me, even when I was sitting out in the car, I felt the sense, I think I can name it as overwhelmed, but with gratitude. So I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to present here today and giving me the opportunity to feel inclusive into this community, because that is all that we've ever wanted. I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank the town manager. I want to certainly thank the Parks and Recs department for the 4 or 5 meetings that we had. I want to say that your willingness to sit down and assess the needs of the community and develop a need-based proposal speaks volumes as far as I'm concerned about your commitment to the youth safety and the economic growth. We all know that Cumberland County, especially Fayetteville, has declared a state of emergency for their youth. When I looked at the numbers there, I saw that it's 27 people was murdered, kids were murdered in Cumberland County 2024. And as of March of 2025, that number is at 24. And we all know that when somebody says Fayetteville, it says Hope Mills, your car can be in both places at the same time, depending on how you come down Hope Mills Road. So we're not immune to the youth violence in the area. And I just believe that together, like the mayor said, we can make a difference. I also want to say thank you to Commissioner Craver for taking the time to visit our site in person. She came out. That means a great deal to me. And I would also like to extend a formal invitation to Commissioner Legg and Commissioner Marley, because I think you guys are the only ones who haven't actually come out and walked the facility. The emergency team spoke earlier, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned that the Red Cross has declared us as a national disaster shelter. If anything was to happen in Cumberland County, especially over this area, everybody would go actually there, so that was good. Then to hear the proclamation about Parks and Recs and hear all the Parks and Recs, I was like, this is the night to be talking about. We need your help and we want to partner. I've heard a couple of times about the 1.8 and 1.9 sales tax deficit for the town. We know that the tournaments and stuff that we put together is a huge tax-based revenue thing and have a big help in the economy. What I want to propose is that myself and Mr. Lamarco and Mr. Wilkins have gotten together, and what we plan to do is partner 1 weekend a month. We would like to have as a Hope Mills community weekend. And what we plan to do with that, it's still in the works, is we're going to have a community day, which means, like, for instance, I think in August, we're going to have fraternities and sororities have an event. That money that we raise will be split 50-50 with the town of Hope Mills and with the T.J. Robinson Life Center. We also want to go to the local businesses and ask them to partner so that when teams do come into the community, that we can almost ensure that the people are spending their money in Hope Mills, because that's, exactly what we want them to do. And that's what happens when we travel abroad. We get a coupon book. And in that coupon book, it kind of tells you where you're going to go eat, because it's a discount. So that's probably where you're going to go and eat. I know that the Commissioner Craver, you're a key figure for the Parks and Rec Board and a strong advocate for public safety. And your background in business, I think, makes this an ideal partnership for us with economic and social initiatives. And Commissioner McCray, I applaud you and your leadership in the Guns Down initiative. That the owner and I have spoken, and she's spoken about your the work that you put into that. And we look forward to partnering with you to host regular events and open dialogue to combat youth violence. Your dedication to the current culture in Richmond also aligns with our recent efforts, such as we hosted the powwow. We want to host other type cultural events. Commissioner Scarolo, I don't want to mess that up. Your ongoing support for the veterans resonates deeply with us, being veteran business owners, in our proposal to build tiny homes. I talked to the mayor about it. Across under 10 acres, we wanted to have an all-inclusive community with 25 homes for the kids that age out of the foster care system, 25 for veterans, and 25 for seniors. Commissioner Legg, I don't even know if you remember back in 2011, but you were a part of the board that did the initial vote for us to even break the ground and get everything started. And I remember you talking about your background in youth sports and how much it means to everybody. And then Commissioner Marley, your focus on public safety is central to this partnership also, because the initiative creates safer and more engaged communities and keep our kids in the gym instead of in the streets. Now that I've kind of juiced y'all all up, I want to tell you how much money, what this thing will look like. What we're proposing is that we lease 2 of the main courts to the town of Hope Mills. By leasing those 2 courts to the town of Hope Mills, Mr. LaMarco has told me that he needs 5 hours, 5 days a week to be able to accomplish what he needs to do to keep all the teams in-house. Our normal rates for those courts is $100 an hour, but we were willing to do a discounted rate of $80 an hour to be able to accommodate it and start the partnership. On those courts, unlike the recreational center, Mr. LaMarco will be able to have more teams because it's a much larger space. Also, I would like to ask Hope Mills a second request is, I think you guys a couple of years ago we talked about the Olympic-sized swimming pool that was coming to town. I don't know what happened with that, but you were willing to do like a $5,500 a month type incentive for 120 months. And I would like to ask for the same, have the same ask, and I'm gonna tell you why. What that would do is allow us, and I don't even remember, oh, I got the thing right here. What tab in it, tab and tab 4, those are the programs that we plan to create. And again, we're talking about incentives. We're talking about creating more jobs. And we're talking about keeping the kids safe and off the street. But that also would allow the partnership, like I said, for us to have, and what we would use that to do that 1 weekend a month, where we would raise monies for the town and the Parks and Recs department, which would kind of offset whatever monies that we're asking for. So with some of the programs is mentorship, leadership, faith-based initiative, life skills, workforce readiness, after school and summer youth programs. And I'm waiting, and I would like to, I'm planning on meeting with the police chief and the fire chief to see how we can partner together, and also by having them come in, use our gym, all the time, so we would have that kind of presence in the gym, which is always a good thing. So by closing, I would like to say, you can take the time and look through the books that I put together for you, and you'll notice that it's something that that I had forgot about. I actually had the support of the last mayor and the police department and the sheriff's office in Cumberland County and several other main key people in doing this thing. I believe again that now, again, I feel like we're at a space now. I think the time is now. And I believe that this is my proposal. You guys come back and tell me, however we work this out. But whatever you decide, I would just like to thank you again for the acceptance into this community and allowing us the opportunity to make a difference. So that is it.
Shirley, you put it up for the minutes when
Oh, no, ma'am, unless we do it on the other side, we got 10 acres on the other side. We could possibly do that, we got 10 acres on the other side. Thank you for having me.
Let's do good together.
Let's do good together.
For our community.
Yes, sir.
Is that a deal?
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, right.
Thank you.
Moving on to item F, adoption of resolution R 2025-013, establishing meeting procedures for public hearings. That's under tab 17.
Mayor, can I better on how to be,
Okay?
it has on here consideration to authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding. Do we need to act on that?
If it's appropriate for you guys to tell us to continue the course, I mean, they're still meeting, and I think ultimately what Mr. Morrison said is that when there's language for NYU that's drafted, we'll bring that back for consideration. So I do think you could possibly, for procedural purposes, authorize us to continue negotiations with Mrs. Robinson.
Mayor, if it's appropriate, I'd like to just go ahead and authorize the town manager to, negotiate continue to negotiate to work toward bringing us back a final.
That's correct.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for going back and catching that, because I think, honestly, I know, in fact, I know we can do good together for this community. There's no question about it. There's a need there in our community, and we have an opportunity to really establish a great partnership for years to come. Okay, back to item F. That's under tab 17. Comes back to Chancellor and Ashley.
I'm gonna allow our distinguished town clerk to have this one.
So the resolution before you has the general statute that allows the board to take this action. And basically what it is just establishing policies and procedures for how public hearings are conducted. So it's pretty routine. Other municipalities adopt similar language. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the resolution.
Okay. Everybody's read through it?
Mayor, make a motion to approve resolution R 2025-013, establishing meeting procedures for public hearings.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Moving on, item G, approval to authorize the town manager to execute the interlocal agreement between Cumberland County Board of Education and Town of Hope Mills for the use of facilities by Parks and Recreation Department. That's under tab 18. Back to Chancellor. Or Marco, either one.
Scrolling down to 600 pages. 18.
Yeah, it just looks like it's our interlocal to approve.
This is the standard interlocal agreement that we do every single year. A lot of people don't realize, and this is back to facilities again, we're using Cumberland County facilities for our Parks and Recreation program. And so this is just a typical agreement that we have to approve every year.
Okay, we have a motion?
Yes. Motion to authorize the town manager to execute the interlocal agreement between the Cumberland County Board of Education and Town of Hope Mills for use of facilities by the Parks and Recreation Department.
Second? Okay. We have a motion and second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Item H. This will bring Drew back. Consideration and approval of the audit contract with Sharp Patel CPA for fiscal year 24-25, and to authorize the mayor and staff to sign the contract under tab 19.
Okay, we're required to have an annual audit every year. This will be year 3 of the 5-year agreement that we have with Sharp Patel, but even though we have a 5-year agreement with them, we still have to have an individual agreement for each budget year, for each fiscal year. So this is the audit contract for the current year that we're in right now, 24-25, which they will be doing probably starting in August, winding up in October, November.
Okay?
Have we already paid them already for 5 years or? do we-
No, we pay them for each year as they do.
No.
We pay them each year as they do each audit.
Oh,
So
okay.
we paid for the last 2 years, and once they complete this year, we'll pay for it.
Do you know, do we know how much that is each year?
Yes, they gave us a estimated amount with the 5-year agreement, and each year it goes up by just a little bit, so it'll be $200 more than last year. Not know the amount off the top of my head.
If this is what it is, it says audit fee is $19,235, does that sound right?
That was probably the first year that we had the agreement with them, because each year I think it goes up a little bit more. But it'll be around that.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the audit contract to Sharp Patel CPA for the FY 2025 and authorize mayor and staff to sign contract.
Second? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries.
Get us another award.
Item I has been added, municipal election filing fees discussion.
Mayor, I asked for this item to be added, and again, this is at the pleasure of the board. Our current filing fee has been at $10. I'm not really too sure how long, but I think it's probably time to update that. Just trying to update a lot of other things that we're doing. My recommendation, and again, this is at the pleasure of the board, is that we up our filing fee for $40 for the board of commissioners and $50 for mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray. Currently, it's 15 for the mayor and 10 for the commissioner.
What do you think it should be? It is, but to me, and this is where I go with our budget, we are behind, to me, with a lot of stuff. It doesn't, to me, it's not enough at stake for people to pay $10 in a municipality of our size to run for office. That's just my opinion. If you all want to keep it the way that it's been since 1980, yeah, I understand, but you want to, yeah, that's why I said it's at the pleasure of the board. That's just my proposal. It is a big jump, but I just don't think that we kept up over time, but I am open to everybody's suggestions.
Okay, I'll answer that. Commissioner Squirrel, I'll get to you. The filing fees for the city of Fayetteville is 1% of the salary that they're making. Now, that's what I understand. Okay, so I'm not sure what the other municipalities are. I just know that for hours for mayor, it's $15 and for commissioner, it's 10. And, you know, in our budget, we budget thousands of dollars for the election every 2 years. And it's in this budget for the election. And for me, I had no problem with paying $50 should I file for re-election. And I don't think it's about money anyway. It shouldn't be about money. It should be about serving the people of your community. That's my opinion. So I support the recommendation from Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray and Commissioner Scarola. Do you have some comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with raising the fee. You know, $10 is very minimal. I'm not even sure what Spring Lake has. I would have to ask them. But, you know, like when we had the year, I think it was the year that you first ran, we had like 12, 13 people running for commissioners. And I think, I mean, we even felt at the time that a lot of those names were tossed in to alter the numbers potentially. As far as they weren't probably serious around, we don't know, but I'm just, you know. Say again? And that's the thing, it's like, they were just tossing the $10 in to alter, you know, how the whole election was, how the spread was. So this keeps it more, keeps people who really intend to run, keeps them in that category. You know, if they want to still spend the $50 or $40 for commissioner, so be it. But I think it gives them, makes them actually put their best foot forward and actually work for that position versus just tossing money in to put a name on it.
Just a point of clarification, being that the first day of filing is in a few weeks, Ash, I'll have her research to see if this goes into effect this year. More than likely, it'll probably go into effect next year. I do think you could move forward with whatever that decision is. I just want to be able to give you guys a clarification on when it will go into effect.
According to Angie at the Board of Elections office, it will go in effect this year. We approve it. I want to read something. The set filing fee for municipal election. This is for the city of Fayetteville, and Angie gave me this, so I'm going to read it since you asked that question. Approval to increase the filing fee to 1% of the position's salaries. So that's the mayor and each of the council. The filing fee for the mayor would increase to $312.55 and to $170.88 for members of city council. Well, I don't know what the position is. I don't know that, but this came from Angie from Board of Elections, and she's the director. So, Commissioner Martin.
I had something else. If you're gonna have to put that form of motion on the session.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll put that in the form of a motion. I would like to make a motion to increase the filing fees for candidates of Board of Commissioners to $40 and the office of mayor to $50.
I'll second that.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? 5-0. All right, in the affirmative. It's not about the money.
This should have happened a long time ago.
Well, yeah, it should have. I'm glad it happened tonight. Especially when we're approving a $22 million budget with a tax rate of 48 cents. Yeah, I think so. Item J is a resolution to set a public hearing date of June 30th. We're going to go back and make sure that we get that into the record. That was from the earlier meeting, the 6 o'clock meeting. There may have been some folks who may not have viewed that 6, but we're going to go back and make sure we get that in. And Mayor Pro Tem has that.
Mayor, we have to amend the charter first. We have to put it back on the agenda that we amend consideration of amending the Hope Mills, the town of Hope Mills charter to establish 4-year staggered terms for the Board of Commissioners. So we need to do that again, right?
Yes, ma'am, and the resolution that you're approving.
Okay, so do I need to do that in one motion or do I need to do it?
Yeah, that can all go in the same motion in terms of the resolution of intent and what number it was, 20, yeah.
Okay, so I would like the motion to that we consider the resolution of intent R 2025-014, and that we also set a public hearing date for Monday, June 30th at 6 p.m.
Okay. We have a motion to approve resolution of intent and to set the public hearing date on Monday, June 30th at 6 P M. We have a second? Any further discussion? All,
That doesn't interfere with the first one.
No, this is the second thing.
exact same one.
We need to put it on the agenda, for the part-time attorney. It's the same, yeah, it's the same thing, but we needed to put it on this agenda. Yeah.
If you choose to. Okay, all in favor? Those opposed? Okay, so it's 4-1. Okay, 4-1. All right, that ends, new business, I believe. We get into monthly reports and information items. Now, we've got June 30th will be a public hearing. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be July 7th. Then, so we'll add those two. And Wednesday, July 9th is the Historic Preservation Commission. July 22nd is the Appearance Commission. These are committee meetings. July 28th is the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. And after that, August 4th will be the next regular town hall meeting here in town hall. So I think I got them all.
Yeah, do we, does the, homeless committee, do we not have meetings?
I don't have it on this list.
The second Tuesday of the month.
I will have to go back and double check the meeting schedule, but I know that some of the boards didn't schedule meetings for July, so I can go back and double check, but I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, we didn't, I don't think it was
Okay, just to recap, June 30th will be just that public hearing for the staggered terms, for the resolution of intent, and then June 30th at 6. And then our regular schedule meeting that we added, which is July 7th, will be at the regular time, which is 7 p.m. And there may be one item, or there may be more than one item, because it's a regular meeting. So I don't know what the agenda will look like until Al actually puts it together. But there may be, it should be short, but we don't know. Okay. Dan, I don't think we need you here for the public hearing June 30th, but if you would like, and that's your call. Okay. All right. Staff comments? Looking at the wall, I don't see any waving back there. Before we adjourn, staff, I just want to say thank you. That's about the best 2 words I can say is thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? We are adjourned.
Watch the most boring funny.
9:04.
Oh,